Shruti vipratipanate yada stasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi yada yogamavapsyasi. Again, Shruti vipratipanate yada stasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi. The one before that, Taranam bhushanam chandraha narinam bhushanam patihi prithivya bhushanam raja vidya sarvasya bhushanam. Before that, Koti bhara samarthanam kim duram vyavasayinam ko videsha savidyanam kafparaf priyavadinam. Before that, Udarasya trinam vitam shurasya maranam trinam viraktasya trinam bharya niksprahasya trinam jagat. Before that, I think it was hastasya. Hastasya, was it? Okay, maybe it's Tatra Tatra. We'll do hastasya. Hastasya bhushanam danam satyam kantasya bhushanam shrotrasya bhushanam shastram bhushanaih kim prayojanam atra tatra cha sarvatra vartate parameshwaraha anyatra chapi tatsthanam kutrasya yatra nasti saha apyaso nahi tyaktavyo apyaso hi parambalam anapyase visham vidya ajirne bhojanam visham shruti vipratipanate yada stasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi taranam bhushanam chandraha narinam bhushanam patihi prithivya bhushanam raja vidya sarvasya bhushanam. So akashaha is sky, akashe obviously is in or on the sky. In this case it will be in the sky. Chandrama, we've done last week chandraha, that means moon. This is a different form. A moon is also chandrama. Bhati, what is 2p? This means it's verb class 2, parasmaipada. The verbs that we have done, gachati and prishati and vadati, they're called parasmaipada. What does parasmaipada mean? It just means active verb. Pad, d, and a m. When you combine a d and a m, you have this. Padmam. Bhati, again, shines. He, she, or it shines. That's a verb. And then sarovare. Sarovare. Ends with an a. That's a locative. So far, focus on just this. The moon shines in the sky. The moon illumines the sky. The lotus shines in the lake. You'll notice that the order is different. It doesn't say Padmam Sarovare Bhati, as traditionally we have learned. That's why we say the order in Sanskrit is not as important. What is important is the context. So traditionally you put this at the end, but that's not the case here. Next, Su. Su means good. So Suputraha is good son. Suputrika, good daughter. What is aha plus t? As. Suputras tu. So this is technically Suputraha tu. Now remember that to word, it means but, right? To is also the most common filler word, which doesn't mean anything, and it is used for the sake of balancing the amount of syllables inside a meter. So whenever you see to, you see, well, what does to mean? Remember, it either means but or it is just a filler word for the syllable. So good son, locative kule, kulam is family. Kule is in the family. Bhati shines. And then su nirpo, again, su good, nirpo, this is Sandhi. Su nirpaha, good king. Dharani tale. This is again tale, locative. So what is dharani tala? Surface of the earth, ground. Dharani tale, on the surface of the earth. So sunirpo, a good king, shines, you have to fill in the bhati, the filler, on the surface of the earth. Sunirpo, a good king, shines or is prominent or illumines on the surface of the earth. So someone tell me, what could this mean? So step one, what have we done? We've interpreted word for word what everything means. Step two, you can now say directly the translation. Step three, you now need to provide your commentaries. What is the verse saying? Because this is an aphorism. This is a wise quote. So what is this quote now trying to tell us? Okay, I'll translate directly. So listen, the moon shines in the sky. Lotus shines in the lake or a pond. Good sun shines in the family. Good king shines on the surface of the earth. Take a moment to think, what is this trying to tell us?
Goodness shines, goodness and shines in the world, in the universe.
Just like there are many stars in the sky, but the moon makes the sky splendid. So obviously it is the most, I would regard as most primal, most important at that time. Similarly, there could be many lilies in the pond, but the lotus is the most, what's the right word, most charming.
Yeah, good.
Similarly, there could be many kids in the family, but the good son or a good daughter will take the family's name forward in good way. And similarly, there could be many kings, but the good king would be the pride of the earth.
Okay. This is a good commentaries by Banish. Okay. Any other ideas? Well done.
I think that another interpretation could be that everything has its place in the world. So, the moon will shine in the sky and, the lotus in the pool. But if you put a lotus somewhere else, and maybe it wouldn't. So it's like everything has a place and value in this world if it's in the right place.
Good, Veronica. So we're talking about Swadharma. That means everything has its Swadharma. Swadharma means its own purpose where it belongs. If the moon is not prominent shining in the pond, even though it does shine in the pond. But specifically, where is it providing its essence while it's in the night in the sky? We all benefit from its light because it shines in the sky. We all, the pond, the beauty, the essence of the pond, the color of the pond is added by the lotus flower. That's where the lotus flower shines with all of the weeds around it. The good son, out of all of the, as Manish is saying, out of all of the kids in the family, one son is enough to take the family forward and to continue the generation. So it means the good son has a purpose, a Swadharma in the family by taking the name forward. And a good king, what is the world without a good king? That means with the good king, the earth is blessed because a good king assigns the resources to people, how to take care of the land and to have justice in the land and to provide the right rewards to those who are working hard. So this means it's not just about direct translation. You need to think how every aphorism is, what is it trying to communicate? This is the essence of Sanskrit. That means we're using our minds to think.
Andrea, grammatical question.
Sunrapo, yeah.
Sunrapa is king, as we know, Nrapaha is king. So Su is good. Sunrapo, why would it become Po? I must have missed this, so I can't place it.
Oh yeah, it's, can someone explain that?
Sandhi?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Nrapaha plus
The.
or the equals O, and then you just continue this word.
Andre, I've got a question. So the Suputrastu, so it basically, if we are just chanting, it would be like Suputraha.
Yeah, okay, let's chant.
Kulebhati.
Yeah,
Is that-
it will be
if, sorry,
Suputrastu.
no, if we are not doing it on the meter, if we are just reading, so because Tu is just the filler, it would basically be Suputraha. Is that right? So because Tu is just to
Yeah, good question. Actually, I haven't thought about it that way. Now that you said, yes, I would say Suputrastu, and I'll probably stop and go, it doesn't make sense. Suputrastu, there's no such word. And I would say Suputraha, Tu. Tu is a filler. Okay, and then Suputraha Kulebhati.
okay, so it's just to stick to the meter.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, very good point. It is for the meter indeed here. Akashe Chandrama Bhati Padmam Bhati Sarovare Padmam Bhati Sarovare Suputrastu Kule Bhati Suputrastu Kule Bhati Sunrapo Dharani Tale Sunrapo Dharani Tale Akashe Chandrama Bhati Padmam Bhati Sarovare Suputrastu Kule Bhati Sunrapo Dharani Tale. This is lesson 9, by the way. We're going to learn about Sandhi, the middle voice, Atmanepada of the verbs, and also to have, which we've already discussed before. That means I have, you have, he has, etc. Okay, this table, you see, lesson 9, we've done much earlier. So at least you're relieved now. This is when you go, whew. However, we will revise it further. Okay, and I want to specifically focus on this rule over here. So what it's saying is, when the first word in Visarga, so word 1, Visarga, plus meets the second word starting with R, plus R, this is word 2, of course, word 2. So now we're going to focus what happens in this case. Then h disappears, so h disappears, and if I, U precede the h, which means if there is a I or an U, then they become long I or long U. Therefore, what happened? We got rid of the h, and now the U is going to convert into a long U, and the I is going to convert into a long I. So let's do an example of this. Shrutihi. Shrutihi. Okay, Shrutihi. See that I? It's short, right? Shrutihi Ramaha. So that's the combination. So what do we say? what's going to happen? We're going to get rid of the h, and the e is going to change into a long. There it is. Shruti Ramaha.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
So the Ra in the Ramaha is a consonant Ra, isn't it? It's not a vowel Ra.
Correct.
So it still holds good.
If it was a vowel, this wouldn't hold. Only if it's a consonant.
Okay.
This means if you see this, then the rule does not apply to this. Only if it's a ra, which means you should only be seeing this. Totally different than vowel.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now the example 2. When the first word ends in ra, which we've discussed now, and meets a second word starting with ra. Okay, so let's do this. Word 1 ends with ra plus word 2 starts with ra. Then what's going to happen is the ra disappears in word 1, so this is going to disappear. And if a, I, u precede ra, so then again, if there is a a, I, u, then they're going to change into a long. So they're going to become a long u. Again, suppose you have dur rakta, right? Dur rakta. So if word 1 ends with a ra, joins word 2 starting with a ra, then this u is going to change into a long. There it is, right there. And this r we're going to cross out. Therefore, du rakta. From dur rakta to du rakta. Ramaha pashyati, Ramaha pashyati. No change. In other words, use color coding to tell you whether there is a change or not. You see how I've made a color coding? This means no change. This means no change. So this means all you have to know is change happens when it meets the 3 magic ones. Ch or t. That's it. Ch or t equals this magic ash or ash. Number 4, final s should be treated as. So whenever you see the s, treat it as a visarga. In this text, writing in Roman script, words are usually separated. Like here, separated, separated. But in actuality, there's no separation. For example, here, no separation. But to make it more legible, it says Ramas tishtati. It's actually Ramas tishtati, one whole word. Okay, and here, number 6, notice that the chart is divided into 3 groups. That's all I have to say about number 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 3 groups. So this means study 1, make sure you get 1 right. Study this one, make sure this one's correct. And whichever there's a weakness, focus on that one. Use some English examples. The best idea is like this. Suppose you have chai hi, like chair or something, like just make up a word. Chai hi goes. And then you can say, okay, so chai hi goes, and you can say chair goes. Okay, so you can just like through your day-to-day activities, create these English examples to get this Sanhi used to. Let's say table ha has hair. So you can say Tabor has, or something like that. Just creative. All number 7 is doing is trying to give you the Sandhi in a different combination. I say skip number 7 because the table is pretty clear of these 3 columns. Okay, now grammar. Here it is, new verbs. We will learn the middle endings. Atmanepada. Please repeat. Atmanepada. Atmanepada means fruit of action is said to be going to the agent, Atman, to the self. While the active voice, Parasmaipada, that means gachati, the ones that end with this T, the fruit of action goes to someone else. Rama goes to the horse. Now, this is theory only. In practice, they are used interchangeably. Because if you start thinking like this, you'll be thinking, is now the fruit, is this verb going to me? Is this verb going to someone else? So the rule is they're used interchangeably. There's no particular rule when to use which verb. They are used equally. That means 50-50. That means you will encounter both gachati and also both parasmaipada, the one we've done, and also atmanepada. So let's do our first atmanepada verbs. For bhash. Bhash means to speak. Please repeat, bhash. Bhash. This is root. So this is the from which the stem comes, thus you compose a word. Bhash. The most basic fundamental concept of Sanskrit is the root. Here it is, bhash. Now when you add endings, for example, ase, ate, then you create these new verbs. So repeat, bhashe. I speak. Bhashase. You speak. Bhashate. He, she, or it speaks. Bhashe, bhashase, bhashate. Next one. We too. Bhashawahe. Bhashawahe. Emphasis on the long E, on the long A, please. Bhashawahe. Bhashete. Bhashete. Long, long, long. Bhashete. This is aspiration. Bhashete. And this is no aspiration. Bhashete. We all speak Bhashamahe. Bhashamahe. You all speak Bhashadwe. Bhashadwe. They all speak Bhashante. Bhashante. What can we pick out? There's a similarity. Gachamaha. There's a m. There's a v there like gachawaha. So you can recognize some patterns. Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
Can
yes?
I ask a question on that? I didn't quite get what the middle endings and the active endings are. So if I say bhashami and bhashe, what is the difference? In English?
So good. So bhashe takes the middle endings, which means you cannot say bhashamaha, bhashami, or something like that. This means you don't mix them together.
Okay. So how do we know when to use what?
You just have to remember.
Okay.
So Andre, is this just used for this word, bhash?
Yes, and many other words that will also, which will indicate in the dictionary whether it is atmanepada or parasmaipada.
Okay.
Okay, so again, so when you look up the word bhash in the dictionary, you will see either p or long a. If it's p, it's parasmaipada. Immediately know, it's got a gachati, gachasi, gachanti, etc. If it's a, you go, like immediately it is bhashe, bhashase, bhashate, etc.
So ramyate will come in this?
Ramyate, good. There we go. Which is atmanepada.
And there aren't any rules, Andre. You just have to remember what words would go. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
The good news is there's only two. So there's not, I'm not going to say now, okay, now there's also some, parasme, atmane, special pada, etc. There's only atmane pada, parasme pada. That's all you have to remember. Suppose I want to say think. Chint.
Chintyami.
Now chintayati, obviously now, okay, so it's T, so it equals parasme pada, the one that we know. However, chint also has uphapada. There's one more here, by the way. Uphapada means it can take both endings, and these are the good ones actually. So this means I can either say chintayate, or chintayati.
Okay.
Chintayate or chintayati.
Okay.
I can say chintayami or chintase.
Yes.
So there is atmanepada, parasmaipada, uphayapada. Okay, how do you represent upayapada in the dictionary? You put it with a U. Simple. So you got P, U, and A. Parasmaipada, ubhayapada, atmanepada. Ubhayapada takes both. And here it is. For example, chintayati, chintayate. That's how you can put it in the dictionary. Or you don't have to, you can just put U. Chint, and then you can put U next to it. For example, like this. Chint, and you can put U. And now it reminds you, okay, so I can use both atmanepada and I can use parasmaipada. Again, how would you put these things in a dictionary? You'll put the root, bhash, and then next to it, you put atmanepada. And when you think of atmanepada, what comes to mind? This entire table of endings. Number 4, we're almost done. There is no verb for to have in Sanskrit. I have a son. The word have exists in the English language. In Sanskrit, there is no have word. So how do you say have in Sanskrit? It is formed with genitive and bhu, that means bhavati. For example, the hero has a son. The hero has a son. So the one that owns takes the genitive. The owner takes the genitive. How about the boy has a fruit?
Balasya.
Balasya.
Go for it.
Yeah, good. The one that has equals genitive. New vocabulary, which we'll revise, and then we're going to end.
Has.
Eva. Repeat. Eva.
Eva.
Which means only, ever, or indeed. For example, here, this is the indeclinable. What does indeclinable mean? It means it has no ending. It's always going to be Eva no matter what. You're never going to put some magical ending like Pyam or Epyaha or, Eshu or Anam or etc. However, it is still subject to Sandhi. So you can still have Evatra.
Things.
Only here, Evatra. For example, horse indeed. Ashwaha eva bhavati. Horse is indeed, or horse indeed. Or Rama stands only in truth. What is the word only? Eva. Ramaha satye eva only stands. Tishtati. Graham, house. Fancy word. Graham, repeat. Graham, house. I live in a house. Grahe wasami. Jalam, water. Jayati. He conquers. Viro, the hero conquers the fruit. Viraha Palam Jayati.
Sorry, Andre.
Yes?
The G, do you use only for like male he, or do you use it for any female or male?
Sure, good point. Good point. So whenever we're going to see here he by default, it is always he, she, or it. Neuter. Dukkam, suffering. Let's say h, silent h. Dukkam. So whenever you see this visarga in the middle of a word, how do you pronounce it? Silent puff of air. Dukkam. Dukkam. Bhash, there it is. Our middle, Atmanepada. Bhashate. He speaks. He, she, or it speaks. There it is. Another one, Manyate, middle, Atmanepada. Man manyate. Repeat. Man manyate. Man manyate. He thinks. He, she, or it thinks. Another Atmanepada, Labh. Labhate. Repeat. Labhate. Strong puff of air. Labhate. He, she, it obtains. Another useful verb. Obtains. That means to get something. Sukham. Aspiration, please. Sukham. Happiness. Dukkham, suffering. Sukham, happiness. Also neuter. And another Atmanepada, Sev, repeat, Sev, Sevate. He serves. Sev, Sevate. Sevate. He serves. He, she, it serves. He, she, it serves fruits.
So Andre, manyate and chintayate, both the same, isn't it? Things.
Yes, good. Good point. That means we got two verbs which mean the same thing. You can use chintayati or manyate. Chintayate or manyate.